grabe man. They're always like, chbo, klipay, pwede, kaya na, woo! And then on the weekends, they're always patak, let's eat together, tagay, woo! So my first ever experience with Filipinos, gawas sa Filipinas in Hong Kong, magtrabaho abroad. So imagine this, I work this hardcore, wake up at 4 in the morning job, taking students around Hong Kong into the outdoors. I work all day till about 9 p.m. looking after them. And I was working with 15 Filipinos. I always look at them and be like, grabe man. They're always like, chbo, klipay, pwede, kaya na, woo! And then on the weekends, they're always patak, let's eat together, tagay, woo! Like they're really cool, you know? So I was working with these guys, like, man, I'd been all over Southeast Asia, but I'd never been to the Philippines. Like, I want to get to know them more. So I started hanging out with them in Hong Kong. And then I got interested in the Philippines. They started mentioning, man, you should come visit. So, next. That's what happened. And I'll never forget this. January 17th at 2:30 in the morning, 2013, I took a plane ride with 4 Canadian friends. Those Canadian friends didn't know my Filipino friends from Hong Kong. I'd never been to the Philippines. I only knew a few Filipinos from Hong Kong who I worked with, didn't know anything about their country or life, but we all came together and I landed at the airport at 2:30. And I'll never forget walking out. There's actually these 2 guys with cardboard boxes. You see in this photo here, I have like a cardboard box, right? When I first walk out of the airport, I look over and like, I think they're beggars, you know, because I've been around traveling. So there's just people in cardboard boxes. Sometimes I think, you know, you stereotype maybe they're begging. So I look at them and no money. And then I walk past. And then they follow me. And I'm like, what the heck? And I look back, I'm like, no. And then I see they're actually wearing, welcome Kyle, mabuhay, we love you Kyle. They're my friends. My Filipino buddies set me up. And I walked in the morning, it was just a happiness overload. But what happened is, for that month in January, I spent 3 weeks in the Philippines. And the first week was actually here in Cebu. This is taken at the airport. And then we ended up traveling around Cebu for a week, in Cagayan de Oro and Mindanao for a week, a little bit over to Davao and then up to Quezon City. And next photo, please. And what happened, this is Sinulog, what happened is, over that 3 weeks, I became very overwhelmed. Now, I'd been to a lot of places. Like, the world is beautiful, and of course, if you have a chance to see the world, please do so, yes. But I'd never experienced a place, you know, where people just aren't afraid to throw happiness at you. It was like when I'm going around with my friends, if we smile and wave and like, hey, how's it going? People are like, yo, how's it going, man, up here, what's up? You know, it's really throwing it back at us. I remember, you know, waking up in the morning, and there's already like food cooked there from people I don't even know, and people welcoming me. It was very, as you know, Filipino hospitality is a big overload of hospitality, but it was also a big overload of happiness. And it just kind of, don't get me wrong, there's beautiful places everywhere you go in the world and a lot of friendly, amazing people, but it's just the way people here just weren't afraid. It wasn't awkward to, you know, share kalipay, hatag kalipay, you know, Messiah, ayos, happiness. Next slide. So at that point, after 3 weeks, I ended up having to go back to Hong Kong to work again. And I was really, wow, you know, I was really overwhelmed. Like, why did I travel all over the world? I never even thought about going to the Philippines. Like, just the way people share happiness is so cool. Next slide. So what happened is I was in Hong Kong. This is April 2013. And I don't know, I was just feeling like, you know, a little bit down at the time. I just wasn't having the best day, the best kind of week. And I was sitting there in Hong Kong working thinking, you know what? That entire 3 weeks in the Philippines, even if my friends were having some issues, or even if other people were having problems, I was feeling a little bit weird, it seemed like the best way to deal with it was just share good vibes or share happiness. So I'm just going to try what my Filipino friends and the people I saw in the Philippines do, and I'm just going to do that as well and not feel awkward about it. So I wrote smile on a sign. I still sometimes wonder why, but I just went out into Hong Kong and stood around and smiled. And I didn't force it on people. I didn't go, you gotta smile, man, you must smile, you know, be happy. No, it's not like that. I just, hey, I'm having a smiling day. Today's gonna be a good day. What I noticed is about 95% of people who went past me or interacted with me, you know, they shared a smirk or a laugh or a smile or said something fun and happy. And I thought, man, this is this is really cool. Why didn't I think about this before? You know, it was the Philippines that kind of showed me, hey, it's okay to share happiness. You don't have to feel awkward about it. It's cool. So I started doing it more. Next picture. I just started smiling on airplanes and stuff. This was going to Canada. Hey, let's smile and share good vibes. And what happened? Good vibes. Next one. Yeah, my sister's wedding. I just went to my sister's wedding and it's like, Amy, you know what? People in the Philippines, it's not awkward to share happiness there, so I'm going to do it here. And then she's like, yeah, this is cool. It's good vibes. Next one. This is in Indonesia. And what happened is I lost my iPad. And I was feeling kind of like, oh no. But this random guy started helping me, and then we started sharing good vibes. And funny enough, we found the iPad, which was cool. But even though I was having a bad day, sharing good vibes, it worked. Next. This one's awesome. This was in Malaysia, still in 2013. I was walking down the street, about to go for a run. 2 police cars showed up. They grabbed me, arrested me, threw me into jail. And then they, well, not in jail, but at the station. And they interrogated me for 45 minutes. Asking me about being a Peruvian cocaine dealer. Yes. It was a very weird experience. It was quite funny, but at the end of it, this is actually the interrogator. You know, it was a really bad thing, but you just share happiness, and yeah, it worked out. We had a good vibe at the end. So, again, this is all, it sounds a bit strange, but I really picked this up from that 3 weeks in the Philippines. Go. Sharing happiness inspires happiness. Now, that is pretty much what I've been living by ever since I first came to this country. And again, it sounds very strange. Maybe you guys are immersed in that a lot here, being Filipino. But for somebody like me coming to this country, like, it really is a really unique and special thing, the way people here can just share happiness. So, next slide. What happened is, after kind of traveling around a bit more and working in Hong Kong, I got a bit intrigued. I thought, I was only there in the Philippines for 3 weeks. Like, maybe it was just my friends. Maybe it was, you know, just I was lucky. Like, what's it really like here? Are people cool? Like, is it nice? Are they really happy? So I came back and I decided to live for 3 months in the country. I lived for a month and a half, actually Liloan, North Cebu. I have a tita and tito there. And then I lived for a month and a half in a.k.a. in Dioro. And what I would do is, you know, laag, and just go, you know, pasyal, interact with people. So this year, oh, go back, sorry. So I would just go hang out with pedicab drivers and talk to them. Now, a pedicab driver, they have a pretty tough life, you know, and they don't make much money. What I realized is they were very happy to still share just what they were doing for their day, a positive conversation. At the end of it, hey man, want some rice, or, you know, want a drink, whatever. And I thought, wow, that's so cool. Somebody even with so much less, or not less, but with a very difficult situation, still shares happiness. Next slide. You know, how many people have been to a Filipino fiesta? Like, how beautiful is this? I stumble upon fiestas or go to fiestas. What do Filipinos do? Hatagi, give, pahingi. What do you want to return? Kalipay, happiness? Like, how beautiful is that? Next slide. I ended up on All Souls Day or All Saints Day. You know, I'm in the cemetery with the family I'm staying with in a.k.a. in Dioro. And we're taking selfies and smiling and jamming out and eating in the cemetery? A place that is like the most morbid, most like saddest, most depressing thing you can imagine. That's death, man. But here's the Filipino people I'm hanging out with, sharing good vibes and happiness, even with those who have passed away. Beautiful. Next slide. Simple things. I'd roam around. You hear kuya. You know, you're probably my kuya. Hey Manong, where's Manong? Hey Ate, Tito. Hey, this is blessing. Mano po, amen. You know, simple ways people showed respect here. Don't get me wrong, people respect each other around the world as well. But it's really deep rooted here. You see it every day. I guarantee every one of you, every single day, shows respect or feels respect from somebody. Beautiful. Next slide. I even taught it to my dad. I taught it to my dad. Not because I plan on blessing him in Canada, but because it's important and it's beautiful and you guys really show it here, and I think that's awesome. Next slide. So then what happened is, after those 3 months, I only shared with you a few things, okay? I could have stood up here talking for hours telling you simple experiences. There's a lot of beauty here in the Philippines. What happened is I went back to Hong Kong. You know, I gusto ko trabaho. I had to make some money, I had to go back to work. I love my job there. But then Typhoon Yolanda hit. So this is November 2013. And what happened is I was working in Hong Kong with all my Filipino buddies. And remember, I just told you stories. I lived here already. You know, and I'd become quite inspired, as you can tell by the way I talk. that when I saw the news, about Yolanda hitting and being with my Filipino friends in Hong Kong, it just really felt like somebody was punching me in the gut, because it was really, as we all know, very, very overwhelming. So what happened is, I actually left my job in Hong Kong about 5 days after the storm. I went to Cagayan de Oro just to start figuring some things out, and I ended up going in to Tacloban at the time, passing through Cebu actually. As we know, there was devastation in North Cebu too. And I got into Tacloban about 10 days after the storm. Now what's not important is what I did in Tacloban or all the time I spent there, but I want to share with you one other reason I got super, super inspired, okay? Now, I can imagine a lot of you guys here might have seen on the news or in media, Daco and Barco, those big ships that crashed up on the side in Tacloban, after the storm. And I remember being in that exact area 10 days after Yolanda, driving on a motorbike with my friend Chico, who's actually Cebuano. And we're up there and I see this family of 10 people. I remember going up to them and just interacting for a bit. And what happens? Typical Filipino, They're giving me high fives, we're laughing and joking around, we're trying to play with toys, having a little bit of a laugh. And right before I leave, I look over at them like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're digging for our dead Lola under a boat. So can you imagine, people could be going through the most intensely hardcore, difficult things. Imagine digging for your dead Lola under a boat, but you can still find it in you to share something positive. If that is not worth sharing or celebrating, I don't know what is. That is incredible. Anyways, next slide. So, after my time in Tacloban and dealing with Yolanda stuff, what happened is I had this dream trip planned. I've been planning this for a while. I was going to drive a rickshaw across India. It's like a tricycle. And I remember going to India with my two British friends being like, man, this is awesome, we're driving across India, but the whole time I was there, all I could think about was the Philippines. And it was because of all those simple experiences I was telling you about, and the experience, of course, with Yolanda. And so we threw the It's More Fun in the Philippines logo on the side of our vehicle. I remember people were asking me all the time, why that? And I just try and tell them some stories like I shared with you. So I was on a dream trip. All I could think about was the Philippines. Then what happened is I went back to Canada. I love Canada. Canada is beautiful. I'm so blessed to have grown up there. I have great friends. I'm not running away from my family. I love my family. I love my life there. But the problem is, there's just so many simple, beautiful things here that I love and love to share and connect with, that all I could do is think about the Philippines. I went back to Hong Kong. I love my job in Hong Kong. It's outdoor education. I get to go out, teach students about, appreciating the outdoors and life and interacting, and it's beautiful, and I work with amazing people, some of which are Filipino. But the whole time I'm there, all I could think of was the Philippines. So what I did is I started this thing. What happened is I was sitting on an airplane, and I just realized, I genuinely believed at that moment that if I introduced people to this country, like I had been introduced to it, and shared simple positive things, it could have a positive effect on their life. And I believe that because it had a positive effect on my life, and I saw it have a positive effect on my friends' lives around me. So from experience, I chose to create this thing called Becoming Filipino. Now I will say, it could sound a bit offensive, becoming Filipino. It's not me trying to be you. I'll never be you, I'll never understand the extreme difficult things that Filipinos have to deal with. But am I allowed to take simple positive things I experience every day, or see other people experience, and have those become a part of my life and share those? Absolutely. So that's why it's called Becoming Filipino. And so what I did is for the next, actually it's been 3.5 years now, but the simple video I'm going to show you in a sec was just the first 1.5 years. What I did is I just started going around and being open and sharing happiness, which you guys taught me to do, and documenting it. And this is kind of what happened. So I think the video is next. So just watch this, it's very raw. Look at Filipinos, the way they give. Look at a fiesta, they give. What do you want in return? Happiness, Look at the resiliency of Filipinos. I've been to communities, there's an island, Batasna Island, northern Bohol, where every single night the ocean comes, since an earthquake that hit there, covers the island, fills people's houses, but they still choose to live there, and they still appreciate the things they have, like community, being happy, with their sports, what they eat, what they fish, It's overwhelming, this culture. 2013, it really hit me hard, hit me right in the heart.
so in 2014, I was sitting on an airplane actually, heading back to the Philippines, and I thought, you know what? This is a culture I want to learn from personally. This is a culture I want to share with the world around me. And so I started this thing called Becoming Filipino. This is going to be ridiculous. If you're going to come to the chocolate hill, better bring a lot of chocolate. And here is Angela. This is I genuinely believe if I introduce people to Filipino culture, it will have that effect on their lives. Whether it's Filipino disconnected or foreigner. I've been to 29 countries and never once talk to a camera, never once write blog posts, never once share these things or anything with the world around me. When I started becoming Filipino, I had to share these things I was experiencing with the world around me. To me, it's important. It's something that I genuinely believe that the world can learn from Filipino culture. Please help. I look forward to this journey, and I really hope you guys can help me. And so that's why this Becoming Filipino journey, I started asking Filipinos, share with me things you love about your country, share with me things that make you proud, whether it's something about your food, your culture, environment, your history, whatever you love from where you're from, asking them for positive things. And then I've been going around the country now for the past 2 years, doing those things, and just showing these positive things back to Filipinos in a raw and real way. And it's inspiring them to think about those simple positive things more and incorporate those into their lives and share them with the world around them. Isa! Delaware! Tattoo! There's a lot of Filipinos who have negative stereotypes of their own culture to itself. And I just want to show them the real Philippines. And I want to change those stereotypes. For me, I really believe that sharing happiness inspires happiness. And I just want to do that. I want to share all these positive things about Filipino culture that have inspired my life, and with the world around me, because I think it will make a positive difference, not only here in the Philippines, but in the entire world. It's a crazy feeling when you wake up and you sing in the morning and you're inspired and happy. Becoming Filipino is not a product. It's really my life, and I'll continue doing it as long as I can and forever. It's a crazy feeling when you find something that you really believe in, is positive for you and the world around you. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. All right, next. Okay, so I get very emo actually just watching that. Now, that was only the first year and a half. It's been 2 years since that video was put together, and I've been doing the same thing, so it's been a pretty incredible journey. But what I want you guys to know is that for all of you guys out there in tourism as well, or if any of you guys are creating media or sharing things, you might have noticed that video that was just shown too. It's very raw. It is very, very raw. You don't need to be a pro. You don't need to do the fancy shots. You don't need to. Are they awesome? Absolutely. Should they exist? Yes, because it is good for a lot of things and to showcase places. But you do not need to be a pro to share things, and positive things or touristic things. Next slide. But you do need to be respectful. And what do I mean by that? Is actually, I just want to emphasize here, about tourism storytelling is, now in the day and age of social media, everything I did there, everything I've been doing has actually been off the back of social media. I use it. It's my platform. It's how I share. But as we know, as it grows and grows and grows too, that can be awesome to get things out there, but it can also have a negative effect, okay? Next slide. I'm just showing this simple photo of me on a beach. This is actually a week ago. We were road tripping around Surigao del Sur, an area on the far coast, and we found this random cove. Now, this photo doesn't actually do it justice. It's super cool, super local, super beautiful. I remember taking this photo with Kumar, my friend there, my camera buddy, and I remember being like, man, this place is amazing, and it's super secretive and awesome, and I really debated, should I share it? And I decided not to share anything about it. Nothing about its location, nothing about how to get there. I actually posted that photo, I think, or one sort of like it,
but I didn't say anything about exactly where it was, how to get there, what it cost me, anything. And I just want to highlight that because, again, in this day and age, when you guys are promoting tourism or when you're involved in tourism, you have to be cautious as well with what you're sharing, because it goes. And it doesn't just go if you have a big following. Yes, I have a lot of people who follow me on social media, but all it takes is one person to post something and it can go. And if that place is not ready for what's gonna go, it's gonna be in trouble. And that's why I remember looking there being like, there's a really local, amazing community nearby, but if I share about it, I might be the downfall of everything there. Garbage, over interaction, people not caring, you know, so just please take that to mind. And that's why I share this now. Next slide. What is your purpose? This is the biggest thing for me, okay? Regardless what you're in tourism, regardless what your role is, regardless who you are, why are you doing it, okay? Why are you doing it? And channel that into what you're showing people or how you're working or what you're producing. I'll tell you right now, there's 4 reasons why I do what I do. Number 1, I just genuinely, like I said earlier, I genuinely believe if I introduce people to the Philippines, it will have a positive effect on their life. That is the number 1 overall reason. Number 2 is I look at the Philippines, and a lot of my friends are Filipino. I really, immersed with the families here. All of my barkada is Filipino, Dagan, Bisaya, and I realized, and having traveled around for 3.5 years, yes, there are a lot of really negative, difficult things that happen here and you will deal with here. And I can not even imagine, you guys know that better than me. But that shouldn't take away from the simple positive things. I just observed a lot of my Filipino friends, they were so quick to jump on the negative stuff and forget about the simple beauty. So the second reason why I share what I share is to try and uplift people to talk about positive things more, because I genuinely believe it can inspire more positive things. The third reason why I do what I do, my third purpose, is a lot of foreign nationals like myself. Not to say I was like this, but I'm sure I've acted like this in the past. We go places, we travel to places, and we don't really, sometimes we do that without understanding a place, or without really wanting to connect with it in the correct way, or with having the wrong intentions or ideas about a place. So what I do is I hope that I share a bit of positive education with my personal experiences or other foreigners' experiences to try and encourage other foreign nationals to come here maybe with a little bit better intentions or more of an idea of what's around them or what to expect. The fourth reason I'll save for a minute, okay? Cool. Next slide. I'll go through this fast. So basically, this is actually Kinatarkan Island going to Bantayan. That's in Cebu, I believe, no? I learned there's 51 municipalities yesterday. Nice, okay. I was on the beach. There's a boat. Me and Kumar had to go back to Bantayan. We hop on this boat. All of a sudden, 12 ladies hop on the boat as well. And we all start traveling 2 hours across this ocean just to get to Bantayan. Usually you just see people hop on boats, maybe you're just on your smartphone, maybe you're chilling, whatever. We started talking a bit, like, hey, Asaka Adto, where are you guys going? Turns out, they were actually going to teach. They were traveling 2 hours on a bunka just to get to a school to go teach children. How freaking amazing is that, And imagine how difficult that must be. And so again, why do I share something like that? Why do I tell that story? For my second purpose, where there's a lot of difficult things, like for people to get education or give education to live, These ladies, they go and teach. They spend 2 hours on a boat across an ocean to go teach. I hope that uplifts people, that uplifts me, so that's why I tell that story. Next slide. This is actually a foreign guy named Pete. I just met him a few months ago randomly. He's actually a software engineer. He used to live in New York. And he'd never been to the Philippines, but he met a Filipina in New York, through school, they went to the same school. Then he hung out, and it turns out they ended up, getting together as girlfriend, boyfriend, and then got married. Then he finally came to the Philippines, okay? He actually lives in Osamis, and he was in the Philippines. You know what he told me? He's like, man, when I first came here, there was always people like saying hello to me or trying to talk to me or being outgoing, and it was really, really difficult. He said he's a software engineer and he has a really introverted life, and to come to the Philippines, there's like family everywhere, talking, interacting. It was very, very difficult. It wasn't really a good experience at first. But then what happened is he told me how he tried to adapt to that, and he tried to be a bit more outgoing. And he said over time, it actually became something that changed him in a better way. And he's a more outgoing person now, and he really loves to live here in the Philippines, and he's been here ever since, I think for 6 years now. That's an example of a simple story I share with foreigners, or just on the internet for everybody, that shows how, hey, you might not have the best experience right away, but if you persevere and you try and learn or adapt, it can be beautiful. I'll give you a quick example of me. You know, sa una, grabe maghadlok kaayo sa bulad. No, it's very baho, it's very scary. You know, I would never eat it or want it. Like, oh, sober, what the heck is that? It's a monster. But then I tried it, you know, I tried it, and I tried it with itlog, and I tried it with suka, and now I freaking love it, man. I'll eat it every morning, pamaha pamor, like freaking, it is good, you know? So, things in the Philippines, that's why I tell these stories, or the story I just told you. It might not be perfect, but you can adapt and learn, and it can be beautiful. Next slide. This is the last thing I'll talk about, okay? It's actually the fourth reason why I do what I do, but first, I want to show you this. Things are beautiful here. Yes, share about them. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with sharing beautiful things. Next slide. That's a beautiful waterfall. That's in the Philippines. Very nice, no? Next slide. That's a pretty cool beach, no? There's nobody there. Very, very beautiful, right? Next slide. That's a beautiful sunrise. I'm gonna go surfing. Really nice, no? Philippines is really beautiful. Nothing wrong with sharing about beauty, okay? But I'm telling you right now, just sharing about beauty isn't gonna have as big of an impact as sharing things about that place or about the beauty. I'll show you why. Go. Avoid all travel. There is an extreme risk to you, your personal safety and security. You should not travel to this country, territory, or region. If you're already in the, imagine this, if you're already in the country, territory, or region, you should consider leaving if it is safe to do so. It sounds like, should I be hiding? Should I be hiding when it's safe? I can leave the Philippines or run away? Like, now, this is actually, the reason I bring this up is because I want to show you how storytelling and linking things can fight in an extreme way. This isn't about Cebu, okay? This is my Canadian travel advisory for Mindanao, where I live. Now, that travel advisory, if I live outside of the Philippines or even in the Philippines, and I read that, if you're already in the country, territory, region, you should consider leaving if it's safe to do so. Sounds like there's a war everywhere. It doesn't talk about 27 provinces, 24 million people, 96,000 square kilometers. You know, it doesn't exemplify everything. But people are gonna see things like this sometimes, and even the sensationalized news and things, and it makes it difficult to convince them to want to come here. So I could show them all those beautiful photos I showed you. Those are places in Mindanao I visited that are very chilled and very relaxed, and you wouldn't even feel anywhere else as if you were anywhere else in the country. But if I just show them that, it's not going to have a big enough effect to tell them to come there, is it? Next slide. But if I link things together, if I link stories and simple local things together, it can be so much more powerful.
Started this, and this is why hopefully it helps you as other people can realize they need to set about guidelines. Like, a good example is like Santa Cruz Islands.
The reward is
big beach was going around when I got there, it's actually really well
during the war, we for sustainable business
I don't know what happened to those. I've never seen that place. It's a good question. It's something I'm still learning about. That's why I brought it up. We gotta leave before we post it and stuff. But the crappy part is, again, traffic is what creates your media, and we're all media, right? So it's just trying to find the right balance. Sometimes you just gotta take a personal hit and be like,
New award is
oh, you know, I need to do this project, maybe I just can't do it.
for sharing his experience about the Seaside. As speaker during the award is the lead for sustainable business. Signing is with the award process.
I don't care unless you got dreams.